I went viral on TikTok and got thousands of comments saying they don't know what they look like, and I want to talk about it. I hope you enjoy the video.
OMG, I look so cute. Let me take a pic.
Guys, who the is that?
So two things. One, there's not going to be a lot of editing in this video. It's just like a sit back and yap session. I just got my wisdom teeth out. So if you hear a lisp or anything, that's the reason why. It's also the reason why my face is so swollen. So there's not going to be a lot of editing. You can just sit back and relax and listen to it like a podcast or whatever. The reason I'm making this video is because the first one I made about this on YouTube kind of flopped. And so I think it's a worthy discussion for people who didn't click on that one, because it's a really big problem. And that's why I keep talking about it and keep making videos about it. My video was like, hey, your phone by default puts an AI filter on every single one of your photos, and that's not what you look like. And it causes sometimes for your blemishes to be enhanced and you don't actually look like that. And so that went viral, and I started getting a lot of comments like, oh my God, thank you for telling me this. Like, I had like such severe issues. Like, I didn't look at myself in the camera anymore because I thought I actually looked like that. So many people saying they didn't use their camera anymore because they hated the way that they looked, that they were confused how they looked perfectly fine on like their iPhone 11, and then they upgrade to the latest iPhone and they feel like they look horrible. So many people confused of like how they'll look fine, because the way that it works is your phone's too slow to apply the AI filter in real time. And people might get mad I'm calling it AI. A lot of people will call it machine learning, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to say AI.
Second machine learning feature is called Deep Fusion and came out in 2019. Its purpose was to do, quote, pixel by pixel processing of photos, optimizing for texture, details, and noise.
So your phone isn't powerful enough to put the AI filter or the post-processing on at the moment you take the photo. So there's like a split second where your photo looks normal, like it looks true to life, before your phone tries to correct it or tries to fix it.
Who knows how to turn off the iPhone 15 like autocorrect? Okay, so this is what the camera sees, and then after you take the picture, it adds all this detail in on the highlights, and then I look like shit. So how do I turn it off?
When I did my YouTube video on it, I think I did a bad job of explaining it, because it's so hard to explain like in an ethical way. Like, I didn't want to take people's selfies or like their photos and be like, look, this person has a lot of wrinkles that aren't actually there. Like, and so I didn't want to do that. The way that the internet compresses everything, you aren't really going to be able to see their wrinkles or how their pores are enlarged. You're not going to really get any of that. And so it was really hard to do video wise. So I kind of learned from that. So when I was explaining it again on TikTok, I used this example. If you want to look at your screen, this photo isn't photoshopped at all. What's happening is that your iPhone, it takes like 4 to 3 photos at one time if you hit the button, and then it combines them together through machine learning or AI to best photo possible. And so if you're looking at on your screen, this woman moves slightly to the right while the photo is being taken, and it's not a burst photo or a panoramic, it's just regular photo. And so the AI messed up and it combined the photos together. Now, this is a rare thing. It doesn't happen all the time. Like, it's like 1 in a million. There was another story about how a woman with the wedding dress, she had the same thing happen to her. But I'm using that as an example because it's not subtle. Like, we can all agree that the AI distorted this photo and ruined it. So you can't really debate like, no, that's actually what you look like. It's just a high quality camera. Like, there's no debating that, right? And I learned that from my YouTube video, because a lot of people are like, I don't really see the difference. And because a lot of the time, it's so subtle that if you're not the person who it's happening to, you won't even notice. And it even gets back to, talked about this in the video, plastic surgeons, they did a survey, and I think that they also did a test. And your selfie only distorts your nose by like 15 to like 25%, meaning it makes your nose larger by 15 or 20%. That's not that much. Realistically, most people aren't going to notice it. But since you're with yourself all the time, every single day, the slight differences in your face, they add up. You start to notice it, and then you don't that person anymore, right? So many people say, why is Gen Alpha obsessed with skincare? Like, why are they waiting in line? I would argue that it's the way that the cameras have been programmed, where it overemphasizes and sharpens when it doesn't need to sharp. And to be fair, people are like, well, why, if this is happening, why is Apple not fixing it? And it's because, and this gets into like the problems with software or even programming, some people do like the sharper aesthetic. Some people, so for example, a lot of people don't like the iPhone 17 because they feel like it's not as sharp as a photo, and that's because they changed the post-processing. Even though, objectively speaking, the iPhone 17 is better than iPhone 13, they feel like it's less because it's less sharp of a photo.
Seriously, this close to returning my iPhone 17 Pro. The camera is bugging. I don't know what is going on. The front camera is genuinely so terrible. Whenever I go to take a photo with the front camera, it turns out gray, grainy, and blurry. It puts like a blurred filter on the photo, and I don't like it at all. I'm gonna insert a video clip for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. Watch the colors of my hair, the details of my face. What in the grainy, blurred is this? What is going on? Every single photo sucks. I don't know. Something's off, and it doesn't matter what lighting you have. You can just see right now that the camera quality is giving Android. This is genuinely such a problem for me because I love to take photos, and to have this camera quality, it's not cutting it for me. So now I don't know what to do because my iPhone 14 Pro was shot. The battery was horrendous. So I'd either have to transfer everything back to my 14 Pro and get a new battery, or do I go to the 15 Pro? Do I go to the 16 Pro? Like, I don't know what's going on, but this camera quality is not it for me, and I cannot do it. So
it's one of those things where millions of people have an iPhone. Millions and millions of people have iPhones. Even if it affects 10 to 20% of us, and the vast majority think it's like fine, that's still literally millions of people. And you don't know that this is happening. Like, there's not like pop up on your screen like, hey, every time you take a photo, we're going to be editing it with AI. That's not, the average person doesn't know that. A lot of people in the tech space know that. A lot of people in the tech space know that there's post-processing going on, that if you want a real photo or a true life to photo, or you should probably be editing it to reflect real life. You should probably capture whatever in RAW. People in tech know that, but your average person who just picks up a phone or gets a phone for their birthday does not know that. And so they think that it's true to reality. And so they start questioning their appearance like, oh, why do I have so many wrinkles? Why are my blemish marks so dark? And they don't understand that's not real life. It's just your camera doing it.
In China, will just brighten up faces across the board because that's what people prefer in photos in that region very often. Google goes the extra mile to train their camera software on data sets that have a large variety of skin tones to try to represent them correctly across the board, and that's what it's calling real tone. And Apple's cameras, from what I've observed, simply just like to evenly light faces across the board.
People will try to argue with this, but then I will ask them on Snapchat or even TikTok, a lot of the blemish marks disappear. So if the camera's so good and it's not a software element at all, why are people using separate camera apps to capture what they say themselves is the accurate representation of their face? Because it's a software issue. They don't like the software that Apple is using, but they do like the software that Snapchat is using or that TikTok is using. But even then, a lot of people don't even know that it's a filter being applied. I had to tell so many people in my comment section, like, no, every single app with a camera is applying a filter to the base photo. So you should just choose whichever app makes you feel like you look like in real life or look like what you look like in a mirror. Somebody posted this photo in my comment section as an example of how the AI camera filter was messing up their skin. I asked them for their permission to use this for this video as an example, and they said yes. And so you can see on the left, that's without the AI filter applied, and then on the right, it's applied. And you can clearly see how it's messing up her skin texture and how it's increasing her smile lines and basically just weirdly darkening parts of her face. And that happens to me as well. So I have freckles. Depending on which app, like I said, each app applies their own filter. Snapchat will completely filter out my freckles because it thinks it's acne scars. And so I'll just have no freckles on Snapchat. But on TikTok, sometimes it will show them. But even then, sometimes it makes the freckles really dark and it's like weird. I can't even explain it. Like, it adds a weird shadow to them. And then some people have this problem where they're of a darker skin tone, right? But every single app that they post on or like they take a photo on, it makes them pale or like a ghostly, like desaturated color. And so that can cause you a lot of problems if you grow up your whole entire life looking through your phone at your skin and now you're like this weird palish color. It could give you problems. A lot of people are going to grow up having like a weird thing about that where like in real life they're not pale, but on their phone they are pale. And if they spend more time on their phone looking at themselves through selfies or whatever and they're pale, well, that's what they're going to think they are. It's the same thing back in the day when we got our phones. We weren't looking at our skin like that. We weren't like, oh, wow, I have so many wrinkles. Like, I look horrible. And that's like a software design problem. We had influencers back then. We had plenty of influencers back then. The thing that changed was the technology. More and more cameras started turning into software and trying to fix a photo or trying to change a photo to make it quote unquote better or quote unquote more realistic. So it's giving a lot of people like almost an identity crisis, which is crazy. Like they just don't know what they look like. I had so many comments are like, oh my God, this made my day. Like I felt horrible. Like I felt like I really looked like that, you know? And so that's the reason I keep talking about it. So more and more people know that it's not what they look like. And like I said in my last video, I think the only way for people to realize that the camera is not reality. You do not look like that. It is choices made by the person who designed the app. And I think once people get in that mindset, it'll be a better society. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving or whatever you celebrate. Click here for the next one. Have a great day. Peace.